Hi, it's Ashley from AB Sound Advice. Today we are doing a product review on the Gold Note DS-10 Plus DAC. Well, what do you call this? It's a super DAC. This is absolutely fantastic, and as you know, I've played with a lot of DACs and headphone amplifiers over the time. I've been in this industry a very, very long time, way back in the early 80s, and when this landed on my desk, I'm thinking, wow. And Italian made, if you haven't heard of Gold Note, been around for a long time, just over 10 years I think now, and fully made in Italy. And wow, it is absolutely sensational, and that's before we even get to tell you what I think. Now, the thing will go off like I always do. We'll just quickly whiz through. Now, the specifications on this is just about like a cyclopedia, so it really is a lot to go through, and I think what we'll do is we'll just give you a synopsis of that, and if you want more detail you can duck on to the websites that I mentioned in the review for any further information, including that they've got the owner's manual downloads and stuff like that. But effectively what we've got here is it is a new generation streaming DAC. It really is an audiophile product. Sound quality is outstanding, and out of everything I've played with so far, this would be one of the best. And sitting in our part of the world around 6,400, that is correct. It is absolutely sensational, and I mean, it's got through the streaming, it's got Rune, AirPlay Title, MQA, Buck, Bex. I always don't know how to pronounce it, but I use it quite a lot. Spotify, VTuner, and Deezer, or access your collection through your local hard drive or through your network. I mean, and the app that they provide is absolutely fantastic. It really is a fantastic DAC. I've been using it as a DAC and as a headphone amplifier, so I've used it in both ways, one through an amplifier and one through some high-end headphones. And for the headphones being used for this was the ZMF Veritas, which on this did sound absolutely sensational. So we'll just quickly, as I mentioned, go through some of the short, we'll see how we can shorten it down, but it has a DA converter chip, AKM AK4493 PCM 32-bit by 768KHZ, and it's got a DS-10 frequency response is 20 KZ to 20 KHZ, plus or minus 0.1 dB. The distortion, and I like here, maximum distortion is 0.001, signal to noise ratio 1 to 5 dB, and its dynamic range 120 dB, and it also has preamp stage volume control, enabled, disabled by remote, network connectivity, which I mentioned before, and it's also got high definition 5.0 Bluetooth, high quality streaming. We've got supported formats through the network. You've got PCM and of course Wave and FLAC and all the rest of the stuff there. And again, if you want more information, I'll give you the website for that. Supported media services, which I mentioned before. Digital inputs, and I'll show you that on the back. Analog inputs, the DS-10 Plus only, so there is two versions, and we're playing with the Plus. The one without the Plus doesn't have the analog input, so that's the only real difference between the two. We also have obviously the headphone jack out the front here, and output impedance is 50 ohms, power consumption 30 watts, fuse has got a 2 amp, and we are dealing with the dimensions of 200mm by 80mm by 260mm, and we weigh in at 4 kg, remote control, which you can see here. Just note, if you find when you first go to use the remote you can't get it to work, all you have to do is press the DAC button. This remote they use for across the range, so if you're using the DAC, you hit the DAC button, CD, amp, or a pre, so you just press the button. Once you've hit the DAC button, then your remote will come into action. But also press the button here, you can very easily flick through that. They've made it through the knob. You can pretty well do everything from the front of the unit. Owner's manual, which we can see here. And just before we go into what I thought, we might also go through to the connection side of things. And you can see here, obviously, we have the power, USB. I've got fibre optic in here. We've got coaxial. We've also got USB host, internet over here, or you can do it through Wi-Fi over here. RCA outputs balanced out, and of course it has a PSU in, which is its own designated power supply if you'd like to use that, and a well-spec'd unit. You can see here straight away, lots of connections. You can see the build quality, absolutely die-cast aluminium, and very, very thick and solid steel internals. There is no argument this is an audiophile product. The worst part of this review is actually having to send this off. I'm going to miss this for a little while, but it will be back at some point. So, and I think the other thing too to mention on this unit as well, you'll see an off button here. This is one of the only DACs I've seen where you can actually go into the DAC settings and actually change the DAC and just adjust the settings of that DAC to suit yourself. I did play with that. I've run it in its neutral mode, but definitely when you start playing with the DAC, there's 3 settings you can adjust in the DAC area. You can definitely notice the changes in sound as you do that. So, what did I think of this? Well, clearly I think you can see in the intro, the sound of this is absolutely sensational. It has depth. It's effectively as close to perfect as you're ever going to get. I would really struggle to see how you could get any better than this. And for the price that they're actually wanting for it, as you've known before, I've played with DACs right up to $15,000. And wow, that's a tough call. This thing here is just sensational. And the way it manages the low, bottom end's just solid, tight, and well controlled. The mid-range area, voices are very exacting. You feel like they're singing to you directly in the studio. And then the highs are just absolutely clinical, but not so bright that they just become annoying. They just seem to sit perfectly in the background, not understated, not overstated, really sitting in a very neutral position. And for me, this would at this point be one of my most favourite DACs, and I would recommend this to anybody who's looking for a DAC streaming unit. This could be sat on your desk, or you can make a MIDI system out of it. They do actually, you can add on to this the power supply, and that's the PSU-10 Evo, which is specifically made for the DS-10 and the DS-10 Plus. And if you want to turn it into a system and run a pair of speakers, you can also buy the amplifier, which is the PA-10, and that's going to give you effectively 75 watts RMS into 8 ohm and 150 into 4. And all of these units, those 3 pieces, are all the same size as this unit. So you can effectively have your DAC, your power amplifier, and then the power supply for the DS-10 only. Or if you don't want to do the power supply for the DS-10, you can just buy this in the amp, use it as a DAC headphone amp, and then also run a pair of 4 standers. And at those power ratings, even though the amp's a compact amplifier, it'll have no problems running a pair of high-end floor standers or high-end bookshelves. Your floor standers, bookshelves, or any real speaker. I mean, the amplifier I've actually played with as well, and again, another outstanding product from Gold Note. So if you'd like to find out more information about this Gold Note DS-10 Plus, you can find that at hifihq.co.nz for New Zealand or hifihq.com.au for Australia. And all I can say is this is an absolutely sensational DAC streamer. And if you're looking for something and you want something special and you want to turn something on that you just go, wow, you just know you've got something special, you certainly will not be disappointed with this DS-10 Plus from Gold Note. I mean, I just was absolutely blown away, and I ran all my headphones through this, and as I said, with the ZMF Verités, I had to close back on those, and the sound was, I've had this for quite some time, and I've had no choice to finally do this review because I've got to move it on to somebody else's screaming for it. But wow, absolutely sensational. I don't know how you can really review an item like this, and just all I can say is 41 years of playing in audio, This is absolutely outstanding. You would not be disappointed with one of these. And I will come back and do a supplementary review of the actual PSU-10 Evo, which is the power supply. And in that video, I'll connect it up to this so at least you can see how it's connected. And I'll also just go through some of the subtle sound changes that made as well. Alright guys, well I hope you've enjoyed today's product review on the Gold Note DS-10 Plus, and again thank you for tuning into AB Sound Advice.